Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow. We're back! Another
Woo!
TNA here this week on the Tearing It Up podcast. We're just figuring out, technology on the road. Amber's got her high-vis vest on. She is a working gal on the job site and recording from her car. So this is our test run of things on the go. But hopefully it works out. Yeah. So this week, let's see. We got biking to talk about. We've got a few little doodaddies going on here. But I'm going to start off with my story about lunch real quick because I just told Andrew because it's just really funny. So I was heating up some leftovers from a Mexican restaurant we ate at last night, and I was like kind of scraping the box, the tortilla seemed like it was stuck to the bottom of it, and then I realized oh, there's a hole in the box. So I may have just eaten the box and not tortilla.
Oh my gosh.
But it says it's one of those plant-based boxed, all compostable, and in 90 days it would be soil, so hopefully it passes right through me just fine. But it's funny because just last night me and a friend were talking about one of the food services or meal services that you can order weekly or whatever. They come with these ice packs, and this particular one says that the contents of that ice pack are compostable and you can just open it up, dump right into your garden. We were like, yeah, questionable. She's like, I'll dump it out where my septic is, but I'm not putting that on my flowers. And so I was just thinking of this box that I just ate. Oh my God. So I think so. I think it'll be just fine. People eat way worse. And it was obviously nice and soggy, so it should pass easily. A little extra fiber, perhaps.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it's I took the contents out of the box now and put it on a plate, so I just don't keep eating box.
Maybe it's like a thing.
Oh,
maybe
it's like a what?
Seaweed derived.
Maybe, perhaps it could be. You never know these days. You just never know. Things say one thing, and I am just a pessimist where I feel like most of the time it's not anywhere close what they are claiming. But hopefully in this case, it is.
I feel you. We've been
but anyhow,
a lot throughout our lives. It's hard to trust a lot of things.
Yeah. It is. It is very hard to trust. But aside from working, which I know we're both doing a bunch of right now, we've also both gotten a couple bike rides in lately. Yeah. You just went mountain biking recently, didn't you, for the first time this season, or is it what time?
Yeah, first time. Okay. Did Raging River, went most of the way up. And right as I was getting into the parking lot, my derailleur broke. Yeah. Luckily,
coming down from the ride?
Yeah. Literally being done, hopping off the curb into the parking lot. I go to crank my pedal and it just gets stuck and caught and binded up, and we pull over and check out the situation. I had my good friend and mechanic with me at the time, and we check out the sitch, and there's just a crack in the derailleur. And so, luckily it happened when and where it did, but I still need to order that damn part and replace it. So mountain bike is out of commission until further notice.
Oh, when did you go, like, this past weekend?
No, the weekend before last, and I love my mechanic. Shout out to Opalescent Cyclery. I do, but I'm like, dude, did you order the part? Did you order the part? Did you order the part? But also not trying to be a pest. But also, did you order the part? Because I don't know what it is. He's like, I'll just order it for you, and I'm like, okay. Birds chirping, I'm like, okay, go ahead, do it now. So I think I'm going to text him or
I-
call him a little bit later and be like, okay, did you order the part? I love you. Are you back to work? Help me. Let's fix my shit.
yeah,
uh,
absolutely. Like, it's hard to not be feel like you're annoying in that instance because how many other people are they working with that are doing the same thing? But you're just like, how
yes.
much time do I give you? Like,
Yeah.
how can I get this process sped up a little,
Yeah. And I feel like it kind of
especially at
goes,
the beginning of the season?
oh God, he's so busy. And I feel bad bugging him, but also like I need my shit fixed. But I feel like it kind of
Hmm.
goes along with like, if you are friends with your car mechanic or like your contractor or whatever specialty person, you kind of get put on the back burner because they're like, oh, they're a friend, they won't really care. Or like if your partner is a contractor and you're doing a remodel on your home, like that stuff gets put on the back burner. So it's like one of those working relationships where it's like hard to tiptoe navigate around.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point too of just kind of navigating working with people you have a relationship with outside of it's not just like, oh, you're going to the shop and the person there is like, it's just a professional kind of relationship, I guess, but it's
Yeah.
someone, whether it's a friend or partner or something. And like, yeah, how do you want it to be professional still in those things so that because you want the job done, but then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, how are you supposed to act as the friend or the partner of like, do I get special treatment? Do I not get special treatment? Like,
Yep.
can I just act normal? And what is normal?
Yep.
But yeah, I need to take my bike in. I'm super busy like the rest of the week and next week and stuff. So I figured it would be a good time to drop my bike off just for its yearly maintenance. So I need to do that for sure and get it. But it's so dirty because I also rode my bike recently. I did not go mountain biking, but more, I don't know if you can even really consider it gravel biking, but I just rode twice from our place into town through these back fire roads because I just didn't want to be on the pavement with my mountain bike like I've talked before. It just sometimes I just kind of wince like, oh man, I'm like destroying my nice beefy trail tires on cement. So I just wanted to get on a little bit of dirt. So I took these back roads and our road both times was pretty muddy, so my bike is just filthy. So I want to give it a little wash down first because I'm like embarrassed to just drop it off at the shop being so dirty. They're like, wow, you really don't take care of this because there's the people out there who wash their bike after like every ride. And when I worked at North Star, we did that. We hosed them down after every ride. And I really need to be better about it, but obviously where I'm at now, we don't just have water flowing out of a faucet. So it's a little bit harder to do. And even when I did have that access, I wasn't the best at it. But that reminds me, hopefully I remember to grab my like brushes and soap when I head to town today and can at least have it down in town so it's ready to go
Right.
do a quick once over and then drop it off, get things like greased up. I don't know, I might need my brakes bled, but it'd be great to get it all done before I actually hit a real trail because there's some trails around here now that are good to go. So I'm really anxious to get on one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't believe now it's freaking May. And yeah,
God,
Sturdy Dirty is just now 2 months away.
I cannot believe it.
I
There's
know.
a Sturdy Dirty ride today. up at Tiger, and I was going to do it with a girlfriend, but then the derailleur situation, and then B realized that they would probably be sessioning Predator, and I'm like, your girl ain't ready for that. Sorry.
Yeah, is that a double black or just a black?
I think it's either way, it's a black, baby.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
above my comfortability level, that is for sure.
Well, especially if you've only gotten one ride in this season.
Yes.
And even so, even if your bike was fixed, a trail like that to just hop on, you still want to get on your bike and feel comfortable and make sure everything's feeling good after you got something fixed on it.
Fork, yeah.
And I think it's some. What's that?
I said fork, yeah.
Oh yeah. And I was thinking about this the other day as, I don't know, I saw some posts about people racing and stuff, and I didn't let myself slip into this headspace, but the thought definitely crossed my mind of like, man, I do wish that I kind of got into that scene in my earlier or like mid 20s when I started biking, just because I feel like I white knuckle so hard now, just being older and like afraid to like crash and get hurt, and just the recovery time is more, just all of the things that go through my head. I'm definitely not as fearless as I once was, and on top of injury to your body, it's like I
Yeah.
can't afford to fix my bike if I really break it. So
Or your body, honestly. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you don't
Yeah,
have it.
all of it.
Yes, all of it. And take the time off work,
Yeah.
and there's just so much more. So much more.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
much.
so much more at stake, so much more risk than just like getting hurt, um, than I felt in my 20s. Of course, all those things still would have come into play then, but you're just not, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. And I felt like I had, I don't know, just I guess more of an excuse of being young and dumb and I could rely on this or that. But now I feel like, no, I'm thinking about this
Yeah.
ahead of time. But, uh, and I know too, just all of that comes with obviously more confidence in riding. And so I'm just trying to do things a little smarter of like, let's slowly progress to this and actually do things that I feel good and confident about instead of like, hey, let's just try that and see how it
That's it.
goes. Yeah. Yeah, I really wish I could be a bit more carefree and comfortable and confident, but it all comes with time. And yeah, so hopefully I can be on my bike a lot more in the next couple months so that I do kind of gain some of that confidence back. That's for sure. I got to start talking to some people. I got to reach out to the sturdy gals. I think it was Jessica, the one that is from a similar Gardnerville here in Tahoe, and see if she has some trail suggestions for me on what would be similar to the sturdy trails,
Ooh,
so I
yeah.
can get some good practice going in here soon. But yeah, and again, of course, looking at a gravel bike because of my commutes to town and wanting to, again, just be more efficient for one, because that's another thing is riding my mountain bike. It's got full suspension. So even with the shocks locked out, it's still not as efficient as riding like a rigid or a hardtail. So I want more efficiency if I'm actually like commuting to town, and I want some like fucking little bags to put on it so I'm not carrying everything on my backpack, because this ride into town, the route that I took both times, is about 20 miles. And so one time I had my backpack like with my laptop and everything because I'm going to work. And the second time I just had a bunch of stuff in it. And I was like, God, I really want a setup where I have the like pannier, whatever, where I could put my laptop in there and other like change of clothes or shoes and stuff. And again, it's not just all on my back because my shoulders were like fucking killing me by mile 13. Like, oh God, get this pack off of me no matter how I adjusted it. And so I don't know. Have you ever heard of Poseidon bikes?
No, never. Where are they based out
They,
of?
That's a good question. I think a friend pointed them out to me last year when I was looking for a gravel bike, because they're relatively inexpensive, and in comparison to a lot, like in their gravel bike specifically, like 4 models under $1,000, and in the
What?
bike
That's a
world,
screaming
I
fucking
know.
deal.
And they have a couple that's like the last call. It's their closeout from last year that are $500. And I'm having the hardest time not just taking the plunge for it. The only problem is, oh no, it's sold out now. That's the thing, is that the sizing seemed like off. Like it said I would need a small, and they were sold out of smalls. And then so I was like, maybe I just get a medium. It'll probably be fine. But now that's sold out. So there goes that. But it's okay. I mean, they still have, like, again, their other option, like the new one this year is $850.
Wow, that's such a
So
good deal.
I know, it really truly is. And as much as I would have loved to pay $500 instead, but yeah, so if anyone out there has experience with a Poseidon, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But for me, I'm not looking for anything super fancy for this right now. I just want something else besides my mountain bike, again, for just more efficient commuting and whatnot. But I'm not trying to go on huge long trips with it or anything. I don't think I need anything fancy at this moment. I think it'd be a great introduction bike to a gravel bike, and to a drop bar especially too. So yeah, like I said, if anyone out there hearing this has had a Poseidon bike and has any insight to give me, let me hear it, because
Yeah.
let me know about going for it, or like, hey, no, even though it's, relatively inexpensive, that money would be much better spent towards something of better quality. But I think it's totally feasible to make quality enough things at a lower price point. Again, I'm not looking for the lightest weight thing, the most, like, the best performing, so I think it would be fine. But
Yeah.
I especially want to hear from you if you're like, absolutely don't do it.
Yeah. I'm curious too. That's a screaming freaking deal.
I know, even looking on like Pink Bike and stuff, it's hard to find deals like that, and those are, used. And obviously it's like you can update components too. So if I find that the brakes aren't quite as like responsive as I want them, or I don't know, anything like that, those I think are pretty easily, switched out. But again, I bet I would pretty much only be riding from my house to town, and then these loops around these fire roads around my house and around these reservoirs and stuff. Like nothing crazy for my, dream of bike packing up to Washington or down to the coast of California or whatever. Like by that time, maybe I would want to invest in something different. But that's pretty far out, I think, in my dreams, just because
for now.
I didn't really realize how much time it would take. Plus, I need to train for that.
Yes. Major.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, just
and what?
Like financially, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
We're not racking in, like, we're not making $10,000 a month over here, which I wish, but we ain't there yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yet, keyword.
Yet.
But yeah, so rather than, I guess that's a much better word for it, is like plan for it, not necessarily train. Like, yeah, I'd love, like, training includes the plan for it. Getting more miles on, knowing that I can like get a certain distance each day and be able to recover from that and ride for X amount of days in a row. But yeah, the financial planning around it, like taking that time off, and those trips aren't, I mean, you can, I'm sure, do it on the cheaper, but yeah, really looking at how much would it cost for, food, a couple other, an emergency like fund, and for days that maybe, depending on what my trip would look like spend a night in a hotel once or twice to just have a nice hot shower or whatever. You just never know what
Yeah.
cost might come up, and you got to pay your bills while you're gone, and then you're not making money for a month. So a lot of financial planning into those bigger trips for
Yes.
most people, and especially for me. So I do want to start kind of doing that research and being able to plan it all out. And maybe next year it would be something I could do, figure out the best time too, like spring or fall, or what's the all depends on the route you take as well, and what conditions might be. Like if it's road, probably clear. If I want to hit trails, that will depend on snow. But yeah, so again, I'm asking, we always love to ask for audience feedback. Any of those with experience bike packing, would love to hear your take on things.
Girl,
I
same.
still hope to
I hope to get a first one in this summer.
Yes, just like even for me, I just want like a shorty experiment just right down the road at these reservoirs. There's tons of camping, or even, I don't know, there's places I could go like right out of Truckee that aren't too far, but 30 to 60 mile ride or something in a overnight, and just start experimenting with what packing looks like for that, because I I am an overpacker, and it will be very hard for me to pack minimally on something like
Yeah.
that. So having
Also,
a little bit of
mention with those bicycles, like the weight and like
Mhm.
how heavy those bikes are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why for me right now, it wouldn't matter too much because I'm not planning a huge excursion with it. But that's why when people are planning these long trips, they take the bike weight into account, because you're already going to be adding 40, 50 pounds or something of gear on it. So one, is the frame going to with like still be nice and stable with that weight, and is it going to be like, do you have to pack less because your bike is so heavy? Like, yeah, sometimes, I think a lot of times you don't think about the weight of your bike because it's not on your back, but it still does make a difference in these long distance efforts. Like you're still moving something of substantial weight up hills.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And so speaking of like kind of training, whatever, getting back in shape, trying to get in that saddle more. So these 20-mile rides at least are hopefully training my saddle butt. But I started CrossFit again yesterday.
Good job, dude. How did that feel?
Exhausting, but so they have two different class types rather at the gym I go to. Just the standard CrossFit, and then sweat class, which is a little more like, hey, I'm sure I've talked about it before. It's just you do similar movement patterns to what we do in the CrossFit class, but generally it is lighter weight and more reps instead. The particular workout we did was a lot of volume. So I was like, what the fuck did I just like? This was not the best first workout, but I went light in weights, and I didn't care about what reps I was supposed to hit. I kind of went more off of a time frame, like do as much as you can in 45 seconds. So I knew I was getting a little bit of a rest between sets or rounds. And yeah, so I did not hit the numbers that were like on the board for reps. And I was like, I don't fucking care, because I know I'm going to absolutely die if I try to hit that. And I'm just trying to survive this right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Just try to
so
get ease back into it. Dip your toes in the
yeah,
jacuzzi, baby, if you will.
exactly. So I'm a bit sore today. I'm sure I'll be more sore tomorrow, but yeah, I signed up for the 3-day a week program or membership, so that I can hopefully commit to those 3 days, and yeah, just kind of smartly use it to help me feel good and strong, like on and off the bike, and intermix it with riding and stuff. And yeah, just be really aware this year
Yes.
of how my body is feeling, so that, because at a point, I was really down about CrossFit because I really want to do it. I love it so much, but my body wasn't recovering, right? And I was feeling like, well, I can't even go bike for 2 days after a class. I certainly can't do it like same day as a class. And what am I putting ahead? I'm not enjoying my favorite summertime outdoor activity because I'm in the gym, just these conflicting thoughts. But I love both of them. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure I'm staying aware throughout it and paying attention to how I feel, not the numbers that are suggested, and making sure that I can go do these outdoor activities, because I think I would probably, I would definitely rather be biking than in the gym. But I do love the gym so much that I don't want to not be able to do that too. So I just really want to prioritize how I can make both of these loves work for me, so I don't have to feel like I'm choosing one or the other.
Yeah, dude, the struggle, the forever struggle.
And that can just be tough to navigate. And I know a lot of people end up choosing that, whether it's the winter or summer or whatever, but you're choosing one thing over the other, and there's just not enough time for all the things. So what do you do? But it's just trial and error.
And balance, and just trying your best to listen to your body, which it's so
Can
hard.
You hear me still?
Busy. Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, are you talking? Because I can't hear you.
Oh, no. Here. Are we there?
I lost you.
Oh, no.
Did you mute yourself on accident? Oh, no. You're back.
I'm back. It might have just been like a little glitch.
Okay. I was like, I see your mouth moving, but no sound is coming out.
Weird, because I did mute myself for a little bit, but now I unmuted it, and I'm here. Also, I'm drinking coffee at noon.
That's good. You're what?
I'm drinking coffee at noon. It's probably gonna fuck me up.
Oh, I've been drinking caffeine at all hours of the day lately. I've still been able to sleep, so I don't know if that's a good sign or bad sign, but I feel like my tolerance is so high that it doesn't affect me, or what's going on here with that. But so I also just wanted to touch on, I'm not going into detail yet or anything, but I'm excited about some like upcoming just changes, some shit we got going on with ourselves, me and Andrew and myself, and I just think it feels like spring for real. Like the snow is melting. I haven't seen many flowers yet, but I feel it in my insides. Like we had the conversation with Angie Marie in your inner seasons, and there's been times, that I feel like my inner season does not align with the outer season, but I'm feeling that alignment right now, that my inner spring is like things are blooming, things are happening, and that seems to align with what's the actual season we're in here in North America. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also really excited about us having our 100th episode.
Woo!
It's a milestone. I mean, it is a big deal because we've mentioned this stat before. Now, of course, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but the amount of podcasts that even go past 1 episode or 5 episodes is really low. So the fact that we're getting to 100 episodes, that's a really, really big milestone in the podcast world. And I'm super excited for us to reach that. And as we stay on our like Thursday releases, it will be like June 20th that our 100th episode comes out. And so we are just trying to figure out something kind of fun to do for that episode. So again, hopefully actually the last time in this episode we ask for guest feedback, but it will be about, hey, any fun ideas of things we should do for our 100th episode, whether that's like any guests you think we should have back on, anything, any idea you have that we should do, let us know. My hopes and dreams would be to be able to do something cool in person, but you all know that that's difficult with us being 800 some miles apart. And the timing is just...
We got stuff up our sleeve.
We sure do. We've got some ideas because the timing of this is so close to the time that I'll be in Washington in June for my buddy Joe's wedding, and then for the Sturdy Dirty. So it's like, oh my God, you're kidding me. It could be like, a few days difference of this. And, we could plan something well in advance for that 100th launch, or we could do something that's like day of, or who knows. But anyways, let us hear it. We had a suggestion box on Instagram, and we'll probably post something like that. I'm sure we will again in the following weeks, because as of now, obviously we have over a month until then, almost 2 months. But one person did respond and said that they saw someone who like kind of flipped the script for their 500th episode, that the guest actually interviewed the hosts. And I thought that was a fun idea. But
I love
and I have a couple I know. I was going to actually reach out to someone today and bring up that idea, but then you and I had also talked about something else. So I was like, well, let's see. I'll tell you after this particular idea I have that could be fun for that kind of flip flop there. But yeah, let us hear it. Let us hear it, people.
Dude, that's thrilling. We've got stuff up. That's exciting, dude. And it's our 100th episode. Like, it's taken, I mean, like, before starting anything, you really don't know where it's going to go. And I feel like for us, this has, like, really made us be very diligent about connecting with each other on a weekly basis. It's awesome because we're so close. Like, our friendship, you just don't find friendships like the one that we have. And with all of our history and just so much, like, it's just so nice to be able to connect with you being so far away and to still be able to be as close as we are. Like, that's special. Also, all the work that you've put in, like, I'm just like your little sidekick. Like, you do so much and you reach out to so many people, and like, I can't speak your praises enough, Taryn. You really do a lot, and you're incredible, and I'm just so excited to be here for this ride. I really appreciate all of it.
Oh,
And all the
I love
amazing women that we've talked to, and gents. Like, there's been so many conversations where I'm like, this could be its own series entirely. Like, we really should have some revisit guests before the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Or after, or like, we really need to like circle back to some of our people.
I know. June could maybe be a whole kind of lead up to it by circling back to some of those guests who were maybe in the top rankings, or even some who weren't, just because we've had so many great guests on when we had, not like we have a giant following or anything, but when we had even less, that I'd love to get them back on and get them kind of like refreshed to the top of the list, so the people who just started following, can get on that train and whatnot. So yeah, maybe all of June will be a lead up to it, which I guess it would actually probably only be like 2 or 3 episodes before that 100th episode in June. But yeah, we've got some, exactly. And it's gonna definitely be here.
This episode has been a struggle, hey? We're making it work though, baby. This is what it takes to get to 100, I'll tell you what.
Well, yeah, and yeah, just living in tiny places and all of the things. It will someday be there. Having our recording just locked down places and all the good technology to make it clear and all that. Poor Andrew, he's just kind of, he's trying to do something so he can get to town, and it's hard being in a tiny place, sharing a small place and trying to work from home, and your other person isn't working from home. But yeah, we're a work in progress. We're excited of where things are going. We've got some good guests, great guests coming up in May. So that's another thing too, like our May will be pretty loaded. And so before we know it, like, we're going to actually be scheduling interviews into June and stuff. So yeah, I'm just excited. I'm really excited. And it'll be, we're at 2.5 years, but we've been just
Wow.
kicking butt the last year and a half for sure.
Yeah. I feel like you've really come into your identity as a podcast host.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely took some time because it just takes practice, right? Figuring it all out and whatnot. But I do feel more confident in a lot of the things, and that's really helped a lot. We've just been able to get to this point organically of figuring it all out with no path laid out in front of us, not really any. I've been a part of some groups that have really helped, that I can get feedback from, ask questions to. I have mentors like Angie Marie and Emily Holland, who've both been on the podcast. So it's been really great to be able to have them in my network, and they're so versed in the podcast world because they have been on the production side of things as well. But even with that, a lot of this has been just kind of figuring out on my own, and what they really do is help support and kind of push me to do these things that I kind of bring up to them. But yeah, everyone who does this is kind of on their own path. But like I said, we had no experience in anything like it before. So I think it's very cool what we've done and what we're continuing.
Yeah, I agree. And I also would like to tie in all the stories of all of our guests and how they have had these trajectories in life, and then it somehow takes a turn, and then they start a clothing business, and then that just takes off, and then all the trials and tribulations that come with that, and how they've all persevered and are still struggling along the way, but it's like you're in it and you're sticking with it and you're trying, and life goes on, man. Like, if you have a want in life and it's an idea, it's there for a reason, and you should really try your best with all life's distractions to just focus on it, sit with it, and take it away, man, because that's what happened with us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you wanted to do a podcast for so long, and then we just sat down around the fireplace in my living room and we're like, we're doing it, and then just continued. That's just how life goes, man.
Yeah, and we've made it to today where we're doing. It's not easy every week, obviously. Look at us where it is now. You're trying to do it from your car, and I've been traveling and done episodes and squeezing them in between paying jobs and stuff like that.
And and everybody else's schedules, and reaching out to the different people and getting our listeners' feedback, and then coordinating. It's just so many moving parts always, all the time.
It is. And what Amber said, is just another really great kind of point of, if you have this desire that you just isn't going away, right? Like, there's some kind of reason for it. So I feel like you should look into it, put the time for it, figure out why this is like calling you so hard. And to sound cheesy, it's like better to try and fail than to not try. So if something is just picking at you and you want to give it a go so that you can't like drop it and you got to test it out, if you can figure out how to, obviously not everyone has the option to just like quit everything and try this, but that's why so many people do things on the side for so long. Like, I've done 500 things at a time all the time, it feels like. So yeah, to be able to put time fully into yourself takes a lot of work and time, and some people can never get to that point, but at least try and start it off on the side and dip your toes.
Yeah.
And see what it's like. And if it doesn't work out, like, at least you fucking tried. If it is in your ultimate life's path to work a corporate job or work for somebody or have a like steady salary or paycheck or whatever, then that's what's in the cards for you. But if you feel like you need to try something else, I think go for it. And again, you don't have to go all in at once, but you can start kind of dipping your toes in. Can you
Yeah.
spend an hour a week on that project? And maybe it is just a hobby too. Like, you want to start riding bikes, like, try and go borrow a bike.
Yeah.
Find one
Yeah.
person to go on one ride with you and just like get out there. This one podcast I listen to often, this is Joy and Claire. I know I've referenced them before, and I actually met Claire when I went to the trade show back in November. She's been in the outdoor industry for a while, and she is in Colorado. You know, like, she's been a raft guide. She's just in the outdoor spaces, and she's our age. She just got into biking this year, like, just bought a bike, but it wasn't something that was like really calling to her forever. She wasn't like, oh, I'm an extreme athlete by any means. Like, for her, skiing is like blue runs. She's perfectly happy with that. She doesn't want to do anything else, that's just how she has fun. And so mountain biking wasn't something that really appealed to her, but then it started kind of showing up in her life, and yeah, she started dipping her toes in it and got out there, borrowed a bike, borrowed her friend's daughter's bike, actually, went on a bike ride, and was
Awesome.
like, okay. She got to the company she works for. She works for Smartwool, and they were at the Rome Fest. And so she was immersed in this like women's outdoor bike festival. And that was a catalyst too, to like, wow, this community is amazing. So it's just like, doesn't, again, matter the age, or you don't have to be like, I'm going to be extreme into this and go 100% all in all the time. Doesn't mean you can't do it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have
So
to do,
just keep taking chances.
but also there are those people who are like, once they're into something, they're fucking into it and they go ham and it is their
Mm-hmm.
life. But
We
also,
know
if you're
people
not,
like that.
yes, and if you're not that person, that's okay too. Like, it's okay to be like an athleisure person.
Exactly. Katie Burrell, hello.
Yeah.
The leisure athlete, for sure. You can do something to whatever ability or comfort level you have. It doesn't have to be this extreme thing all the time. But again, that's kind of what social media does to us, is like, if I can't do it up to this person's level, then I shouldn't be doing it at all. And that's just
Yeah.
false, which is also why it's like, I've gotten much easier on myself about like, you know what? I can't go ride this long, like, technical trail right now. I don't have the time, whatever. And I'm just going to ride this easy, short trail I know and love. Like, fine, whatever. At least I'm out. If all I can do is ride my bike to town, whatever, I'm happy to be on my fucking bike. So
Yeah.
again, it's a work in progress for myself to just take the wins as small as they are, and not just be like, oh, if I can't do this, then like I might as well not do it at all. It's like, no. And yeah, if you don't give it a try, you'll never know if you will be that person, or if that will be the thing that changes your life and makes you go 100% into that direction. So you might as well give it a try.
Well, might as well. What do you
Yeah.
have to lose? You gotta
Yeah,
weigh
exactly.
the pros and the cons.
Exactly. Because I know there's plenty of things when it comes to like career change, or, trying to make a full-time thing out of a side hustle, that there's so many more things at play with a lot of people into that. But if there's a way you can at least start to mess around with those things and figure something out, and I don't know, I just wish that everyone could definitely do the things that make them most happy. We all go through times where we got to sacrifice and go through some down times, but golly, does it suck if you aren't doing the things that just light you up.
Fuck yeah. And then you lose it. You lose part of yourself, You get lost. And
Yep,
muted.
absolutely.
It's really weird. It's really, like, that happened with me after having Quincy and like taking a few years off from snowboarding, and then getting back into it and being like, holy shit, what was I doing with my life? Why did I not come back to this? Like, it's just really weird how easily you could slip into the not doing what you
Mm-hmm.
love, not listening to yourself, and just getting lost in this like shell of yourself if you don't do the things that bring you joy.
And we've talked about this a few times. I mean, this is exactly how I felt. These could be short times, these could be long times. It could be after something so life-changing like having a baby, or just other things going on in life where you suddenly feel like you got hit with a 2x4, and all of a sudden, like, the joy sucked out of you. And that's how I felt in pretty much all of February. March was kind of like a up and down situation. So it really helped being able to go home to Washington and be around, my friends and family up there too, and just kind of get out of my environment to just a change of scenery. But yeah, it was a short time in that place, but I've had longer times in that place. And yeah, when you just don't feel like doing the things you love, it's like a red flag for sure. Like, what's that? We've all been there. Yeah. Yes, like, we sure have.
It's not anything new. It's not like and I feel like there could easily be shame associated with it, but we all fall into the pits, you just got to pull yourself out. Got to.
Peaks and valleys. It's just a saying I live by.
I feel like whenever I get like depressed modes or like the holes or the pits, I feel like I like isolate myself and feel like, oh, I'm being a bummer today. I shouldn't be around anybody, but that's when you should be around people, is when you're struggling.
Yeah, sometimes I've felt that way too, that I don't want to go put this like kind of negative, sad, sappy energy on other people. But there are times that when you do meet up with those friends that energy can change and take you out of it for a bit. There are times though that listen to that, and if you just need to kind of like let it run its course and release out of you solo and alone, but it can be hard to decipher what you need in those moments. Like, do you need someone to pull you out of it, or do you just need to like let it loose alone? But I think just don't slip into thinking that every time that energy is just going to be put on other people, and that it can actually, those other people can help change it. Yeah. And if you have a good enough friend, hopefully they'll tell you like, hey, you know what? Okay. I know you're going through some shit right now, but what can we do to maybe change this energy? Cause you're really now putting it out on everything. Like, what do you need? What do you need for like, do you need someone just to release it on? Let's all be sad together. Then let's fucking do a little sad vent, like cry session, or can I do something to lift you up?
Mm-hmm. But also check in with your friends to make sure they have capacity for that.
Absolutely. 100%.
Also, I feel like I have a few friends who are like, yo, dude, I haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything okay? Just checking in. And I'm like, all is not well on the home front. But, it just be like that.
Yeah. Well, having those friends that do that is also amazing. And being that friend that does that, I have to remind myself to do that. Again, it's something we've talked about before, but when you're thinking about that friend, if they just, or family member, whatever, if they popped up in your mind and it's just in your mind to say, hey, been thinking about you, what's going on? Hope all is well. Or you don't even have to ask a question, right? But like, just say, hope all is well. Call if you need anything, text if you need anything, whatever. Just send that short message so they know that they don't have to send a big long reply, or they can if they're open to it. And I think that helps a lot. But I know that we both have to get running here and get back to the call to the man. But is there anything before we sign off, Amber, you want to touch on?
You're doing great, Karen. Keep up the good work. I'm so proud of you.
So are you, Amber. I'm proud of you. You've made some tough choices in your life lately, and you're navigating a whole new kind of world inside of things. So yeah, I'm happy that we have these calls together. And for you guys out there, like if you got a friend that, you wish you could connect with more and you're on the same level about all things, start your own pod too.
Yeah, for real.
It's a great way to stay connected.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we will talk to you next week and the week after and the week after and the week after and all of that. So have a wonderful day and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.